It's on to the second quarter after this. It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Ernie Johnson here. Got Shaq, got Kenny the Jet Smith. We welcome you back to the halftime show on 2K Sports. The first quarter for the Hornets was fairly even. Nothing seemed to give way on either side of the scoring column as they wrapped up the period all knotted up. They just exploded in the second quarter, grabbing the momentum and running with it. Basket after basket, and they played stingy defense. Now they've got a halftime lead that's going to be very difficult to erase. Kenny, let's get your take on Charlotte.
Well, how about their ball movement? That was a true definition of team basketball. All five guys moving, all guys rotating, everyone touching the ball, a bunch of assists, tons of easy baskets. It gives everyone on the floor confidence when you're playing like that.
Shaq, what was your takeaway on Toronto?
Not pretty to watch how they get torched in the low post, Ernie. When they were playing defense in the post, you know me, Ernie. Barbecue chicken alert, barbecue chicken alert. This team is going to have to up the pressure, play more physical in the second half, start a fight, throw some bowls, let's go.
That's it for halftime, as the second half is just about to get underway.
Going into the break, they've been putting on a clinic in the paint. Shots are falling with regularity, and they are pounding it down low. We'll return shortly. Going to do it tonight, folks, for our broadcast. For Greg Anthony, Doris Burke, and David Alders, this is Kevin Harlan. Thanks for tuning in. So long and good night, everyone. Well, 2K Sports back in a moment here at Phillips Arena in Atlanta. And now, the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
The first half in the books. This is Ernie Johnson. This is Shaquille O'Neal. This is Ken Smith. Welcome back.
Ken,
as we break down the action. It was Dennis Schroeder setting the pace in the first quarter. He had 12 points, 2 rebounds, and 5 assists. And Shaq, what are your thoughts on how Atlanta played?
Well, it was an unselfish, team-oriented half of basketball. The ball never stopped moving. Their offense had a great flow to it. It prevented anyone from getting lazy out there. They're always moving, cutting, knowing where they need to pass the ball, Ernie.
And Kenny, let's get your input on the Pacers.
well, one problem I see is that they're too timid on the boards. When you start to fall behind in the game, you need to become more aggressive on the offensive glass and the defensive glass.
And that will wrap up our halftime report, as it's just about time for the start of the second half.
Of the quarter. Their strategy has been clear tonight. Work the ball inside, get shots in the paint, and now they are scoring with ease. And we'll be back with you shortly. This is Kevin Harlan along with our 2K Sports crew, thanking you for tuning in. And we'll see you next time. Sacramento up 3. And back in a moment as we'll get underway with quarter number 2.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 2K Sports Halftime Show. Some big-time action already in this one. I'm Ernie Johnson, along with Kenny the Jet Smith and Shaquille O'Neal. A pretty close game for the Kings throughout the first quarter. During one stretch, they trailed by 7, never falling behind too far. The second quarter saw them lose just a fraction of the lead they held at the end of the first, as they're now ahead by 2 points at the half. What'd you think about Sacramento, Kenny?
Efficiency. You know, I think that's big. That's a key to success. You got to protect the basketball. You can't make those risky passes that lead to highlight film dunks. So I thought it was a great job.
And over to Shaq. What do you think about Brooklyn?
I love it. You know why I love it, Ernie? Because they're getting the ball inside and converting, not just sitting back behind the line shooting threes. See, that's kept the defense scrambling a little bit, unable to lock in on anything. Get it in, we'll kick it back out, then you shoot it.
And that is just about going to wrap it up as the second half is moments away. Down to Kevin Harlan and the rest of the crew.
Kings ahead, leading by 3. Live from Brooklyn, New York, you're watching 2K Sports. Hello, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time. Have a great evening. Has earned him a double-double. Seems like he's been everywhere in this game. And we'll be back with you shortly.
And now, the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
And an exciting first half indeed. Welcome back. I'm Ernie Johnson alongside Kenny, the Jet, Smith, and Shaq, the Eel, O'Neal. Out in front at the half is Boston. They lead by 1. Kenny, what did you see from them?
Well, I see a team that's playing smart, moving the ball around to the open man, just taking what the defense gives them. There's a nice flow, a nice energy, a nice synergy to the game.
And Shaq, your thoughts on the Heat?
I like the way they rebounded. They devoted a lot of energy down low, fighting for each other on the boards, and they help keep this game tight. If they can continue to do that, it could easily be the factor that swings the game in their favor.
And that will wrap up our halftime report, as it's just about time for the start of the second half.
Gets on that end of the floor.
The third quarter comes to a close. Celtics out in front, up by 6. And time to step aside quickly, but we'll be back in no time with the start of the fourth quarter. That creates added pressure for the players.
Every player has pressure. I don't know about added pressure, but I do think it's a different time with social media, and you can hear everyone's opinion. So I think that you need to focus more if you're an athlete, but I don't think it adds more pressure, because whether or not someone can type it or say it in your face or boo you at a game, you know, you're going to hear those words.
Tonight, folks, for our broadcast, for Chris Webber, Greg Anthony, and David Aldridge, This is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for watching. So long, everyone.
The 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Hey again, y'all. Ernie Johnson here with Shaq and Kenny the Jet. Welcome to the 2K Sports Halftime Show. It was a closely contested first quarter for Chicago. At the end of one, they were able to end up with a 5-point lead. Looking at the Bulls, and Shaq, what did you see out there from the Bulls?
In simple truth, they just got hot. Didn't matter what the defense was doing, Ernie. They were definitely able to rise above it. Even the tough shots. Did you see that one shot? I don't know how they even went down. They can carry this over to the second half. It's going to be hard to beat them, boy. Woo-wee.
How about you, Kenny? What did you think about Orlando?
I look at the lack of free throw attempts as a key indicator. Because the funny thing about getting to the charity stripe, you have to earn it. You have to put your body in harm's way and be physically willing to take the hit. Right now, one team's playing aggressively and the other team isn't. That's the big difference in the score.
And we're just about ready for the start of the third quarter. Kevin Harlan standing by. We'll see you.
From the United Center in Chicago, back in a moment. This is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Back with the start of the second quarter in just a moment.
And now, the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
And an exciting first half indeed. Welcome back. I'm Ernie Johnson alongside Kenny, the Jet, Smith, and Shaq, the Eel, O'Neal. Houston found themselves in a close game in the first. They got their lead up to as many as 8 points in the opening period. Looking at Houston, Kenny, what did you see from them?
Well, they were lighting it up from three, and that was the difference in the first half. They did a good job of running off screens, spotting up, and getting rid of the ball quickly. And their shot selection, solid.
Shaq, your take on the Lakers.
Well, the low turnovers really stood out to me. They didn't get loose with it or make silly passes. Nothing was forced. They had a nice flow to the offense. Guys knew where to be on the floor. That's the heads-up style of play they need to bring in the second half.
And that will wrap up our halftime report, as it's just about time for the start of the second half.
Digits for the quarter with 10 points total. We'll get right back to the action when we return.
Kicked off a feeling that Houston would be a force this season.
And now let's present our Jordan Player of the Game, Chris Paul.
And I love that it's been a hard-charging performance. Jump shots have been kind of an afterthought. His main goal has been to attack the rim and put the D in some tough spots and also finishing strong.
The better he played, the more these fans got revved up. And that
For
continued
David Aldridge,
to play. Craig Anthony and Chris Webber. This is Kevin Harlan, thanking you for watching the NBA on 2K Sports. We'll see you next time.
That Boy, you call that a perfect closeout. You love the aggressiveness on the offensive end leading to that final shot.
And so it's the Oklahoma City Thunder riding a 15-point lead at the end of the quarter. They've had such great ball movement and shot selection, and it's led to a terrific field goal percentage. Back to the action at
The 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Welcome back, folks. Ernie Johnson here alongside Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny the Jet Smith. There was no stopping Russell Westbrook in the first half. He had 13 points, 3 assists, and 4 rebounds. Kenny, let's get your take on Oklahoma City.
How good are these guys on the fast break? They're pushing the ball, finding the open man, finishing strong. They're at a breakneck pace, and if they can maintain this level of intensity in the second half, blowout city.
How about you, Shaq? What did you think about Utah?
Well, they struggle in a number of areas. Protecting the rim is really at the top of the list. They haven't made that a priority. They haven't put forth a whole lot of effort. You got to protect the rim.
That'll do it for now. The second half of action coming right up.
Their defense has been terrific in this game. We'll return shortly. Thank you for joining us. That'll do it for now. For Greg Anthony, Doris Burke, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for tuning in. So long. Lead as we wrap up the quarter. They're pounding the ball inside, and that's where they've gotten their best production tonight. We'll take a quick break and then back to the action here.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Welcome back, folks. Ernie Johnson here alongside Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny the Jet Smith. Harrison Barnes led the way in the first half. He had 12 points, 3 assists, and 1 rebound. And Kenny, what are your thoughts on how Dallas played?
That was the half of the super sub for them. A lot of offense coming off the bench, and that's such a luxury to have that kind of firepower available. There were times when the pace picked up when the second unit came into the game. And that's the best part, having a bunch of guys who's ready at the drop of a hat.
Shaq, what'd you think about the Pistons?
Way too soft in the paint defensively. They were all late on their rotations. Obviously, that's a recipe for getting cooked. And you know, I like eating that barbecue chicken. They got to do better, Ernie.
And that will wrap up our halftime report, as it's just about time for the start of the second half.
Tonight, folks, for our broadcast, for Steve Smith, Greg Anthony, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan thanking you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Quarter of play. Nuggets lead by 4. And we'll be back shortly for the start of the second quarter.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Ernie Johnson. This big mountain of a man is Shaquille O'Neal, and this hill of a man is Kenny the Jet Smith. It was a closely contested first quarter for Minnesota. They only had a couple rough stretches, and as the first period came to a close, they had a 4-point deficit. They really touched on the right formula in the second quarter, as they were able to pull out to a 6-point lead before the halftime break. And, Kenny, what did you see out there from the Timberwolves?
So far, I love their commitment on the glass. Even when they were playing well, their rebounding remained a priority. And so far, the other side hasn't matched their efforts.
And you, big fella, let's get your thoughts on the Nuggets.
Their three-point shooting in the first half was atrocious. Ugh, ugly, awful, nasty. It's not that they're just missing shots. It's like they just keep taking the shots. Hold on, Ernie. Hey, you, whatever your number is, stop shooting the three. See, Ernie, that's all the coach got to do. Tell them stop shooting the three. Pass, cut, work together, do something.
And we're just about ready for the start of the third quarter. Kevin Harlan standing by. We'll see you.
Here, Nuggets lead by 1. We're going to step aside for just a second, but join us right back here for the start of the fourth quarter next.
Varying opinions out there of what Andrew Wiggins can and can't do. But one thing that's indisputable, he's an incredible scorer. Whether half-court transition, he can flat out fill it up in a hurry.
It's going to do it for now. For Brent Berry, Greg Anthony, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan along with our 2K Sports crew, thanking you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Finishes with 9 points in the quarter. The D is having all sorts of problems with them. We come back right after this.
And now, the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Hello again, everybody, along with Kenny the Jet Smith and Shaquille O'Neal. I'm Ernie Johnson. Time for the NBA Halftime Show on 2K Sports. Damian Lillard has been having a big night. He had 21 points and 2 assists. First 2 quarters from him were fun to watch. Shaq, how do you think the Trailblazers were playing?
Some great work from them with the 3-ball. They came in with the idea that they can attack this D from long range. They were rotating the ball on the perimeter and letting it fly. And they got a good look. It's a strategy that paid off with a barrage of threes. That's my barrage sound, Ernie.
Kenny, how do you think San Antonio played?
They need to break it down. And I look at the individual areas that they're struggling. Like they're getting pounded. I mean pounded, Ernie, on the boards. That's a hustle stat.
And that's all we can do for now. As the second half begins, we get you back to Kevin Harlan.
Going into the break, their strategy has been clear tonight. Work the ball inside, get shots in the paint, and now they are scoring with ease. Back right after this. Now the presentation of our Jordan Player of the Game, Damian Lillard.
And it's been a ridiculous performance in the best sense possible. I mean, everything about his game has been working. And no matter what they've thrown at him, he's had the answer.
The better he played, the more these fans got revved up. And that continued to play out over the course of his amazing performance. Tonight, folks, for our broadcast. For David Aldridge, Greg Anthony, and Chris Webber, this is Kevin Harlan, thanking you for watching the NBA on 2K Sports. We'll see you later. Lead by 9. It's the NBA on 2K Sports from Oracle Arena in Oakland, California.
And now, the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Welcome back, folks. Ernie Johnson here along with Kenny the Jet Smith and Shaquille O'Neal. We're going to break down all the action from the first half. Klay Thompson putting in some serious work for the team tonight. He had 14 points, 2 assists, and 3 rebounds. Taking a look at the Warriors, Kenny, what'd you think?
Well, they just about ran their offense to perfection. They pounded the ball inside, and the entry feeds were on time and on the money. It was a clinic to watch. The second half is going to be no contest if they keep getting shots 8 feet and in.
And Shaq, let's get your input on the Grizzlies.
They were brick city, and it was painful to watch. Weak shooting starts to get contagious, and they were struggling all over the place. They got to work on getting more high-quality chances, more layups, fewer prayers.
And that will wrap up our halftime report, as it's just about time for the start of the second half.
Golden State Warriors. His production has been flowing as he's tallied 20 points and looks to be planning for more. Right back after this break. Do it for now. For Greg Anthony, Doris Burke, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 2K Sports Halftime Show. Some big-time action already in this one. I'm Ernie Johnson, along with Kenny the Jet Smith and Shaquille O'Neal. Phoenix had no problems getting going. They literally played out of their minds and had a stretch going that gave them a 19-point advantage. And by the end of one, they found themselves up by a rousing 17 points. Momentum shifted quite a bit during the second quarter, as did their scoring, but they still hold a 4-point lead at the break. Kenny, let's start with you. What did you think about the Suns?
Well, there was one pleasant surprise, and that was the bench. They gave them a big lift. Those guys came into the game, they did all the dirty work, and they scored baskets.
Shaq, what was your takeaway on the Clippers?
Ernie, they're taking way too many threes. The offense has no rhythm. They need to go back to the drawing board. Maybe try to get a little bit more in transition, more off the pick and roll. Anything other than shooting that three. It's not going.
And now, folks, just moments away from the start of the third quarter.
We'll be back shortly live from Staples Center in downtown Los Angeles. The NBA is going, I wouldn't be surprised to see him more often there than not.
Well, if he does transition, Kevin, to the 4th spot for Gallinari, the question is, who is it that he's defending on the other side? If it's a quick 4-man that has the same kind of range and can put the ball on the deck, that becomes a tough matchup for Gallinari. But certainly his ability to shoot the ball will provide space for other wing players.
Folks, for our broadcast, for Brent Barry, Greg Anthony, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for watching. So long.